Hey, you're here because you're wanting to know what are the most important skills, sales skills that you can develop. And there's a huge list of things that you obviously must learn in order to get really good at sales. And a lot of it is technique based. But one of the things that I've found is that you can give somebody all the technique in the world, but unless you and I believe in ourselves, we're not going to be able to employ the techniques as successfully as we can if we really believe that we're going to be able to obtain the end results that we want to get. One of the most important things to have in sales and business is a thick skin. You're going to have a lot of people telling you no. You're going to encounter a lot of resistance and rejection. If that stuff gets to you, you're going to have a hard time. Now, typically what happens when somebody hears a message like this is when somebody says, this is what successful people do, this is what failures do. And if you and I are operating the way that failures are supposedly operating, we're going to turn around and we're going to feel, oh, that's what I do, therefore I'm a failure. But what I want you to know is that you can learn how to do anything. You can learn how to change anything. And the most important things you need to have is a clear mental picture of what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And in sales, for me, one of the most important things that I had and continue to have is people that I can model myself after. I love their technique, the way that they present themselves and the way they communicate, all these different things, and I emulate it and incorporate it into my own style. But without that, I'd be flying blind. You and I, the way that we function is we incorporate behaviors and we change based on what we see from other people. We actually, that's one of the most effective ways that we improve. It's the way that we've done things since we were kids. So to get a clear mental picture of something, you can't just rely on yourself. You have to find people that you can glean from and model yourself after. The next thing is practice. You have to practice. Any good sales training will have some kind of role playing or practice implementation. The reason for this is that first thing, our nervous system can't tell the difference between a real experience and one that is imagined vividly. So this is why practice as an athlete or anything, a public speaker, is so important, because when you and I go to actually engage in an activity that we haven't done before, our mind is going to go back to previous experiences. And if we don't have successful attempts in actual reality, we're just going to be winging it. So what practice does is it actually creates a successful experience. And when you go to actually do something, it's going to draw from that. And because your nervous system can't tell the difference between a real and imagined experience, if you've been practicing having thick skin, being tough, handling objections, you can have as a role model and a mentor, somebody that you can glean from and pick up their communication skills and the things that you want to incorporate into your style, you have to practice. We do not learn well in pressure situations. We can learn how to do things, but we're not going to learn well in pressure situations. That's why practice is so key, because it is a non-pressure situation and you can learn how to do things correctly. That's a scientific fact. If you research it, it's staggering. So you have to practice. When you're in your office, when you're in your car, when you're out walking, do things like that. Role play with yourself. Find somebody that you can role play with and implement these things, and you'll find it'll start to become second nature. It'll start coming out of you when you're in these selling situations instead of just winging it. So you have to have thick skin. I don't care how soft you are. I don't care, how counter to that type of toughness you feel like you are. You can learn how to get there. I've seen people who have been the softest touches, who were very weak people, who when they got inspired by something and they believed that they could do it and they knew where they were going, suddenly somebody with incredible tenacity came out. Didn't mean that they became a hard ass and they were rude and obnoxious, but they knew where they were going. They didn't care about the no's. They didn't care who got in their way. It was, this is where I'm going. And when you get to that place, you'll find that you'll be better at qualifying prospects and much better at communicating. So if you want, click the link below. I offer all kinds of sales training on all these different techniques and tactics, and teaching on the mindset of how to become really good and being able to implement this stuff and take advantage of sales, which is the highest paying profession there is. So we'll see you on the inside. Thanks.